With the March primaries quickly approaching, Naperville News 17 is bringing you information you need to know about the candidates seeking your vote. This week, we introduce you to the candidates running for U.S. Congress in District 11. 4 Republican candidates are campaigning for your vote in the primary election. State Representative Darlene Singer, local business owner Burt Miller, Grundy County Board member Chris Bulkema, and radio talk show host Ian Bain all have their own reasons for running.
I wake up every day living in a district that was stolen by Democrats, that gerrymandered it for a Democrat, and that was wrong. And I'm running for Congress for that reason.
I realize that you can make a difference at the local level, and I would wager to say the only difference between the issues we have at the local level, or had, and at the federal level is the size of the problem, but it takes the same amount of courage to solve it.
How are we going to get the problem fixed if we don't sit down and talk? We have a union out at our plant on Route 59, and somehow or other we're always able to sit down and get things worked out. And I guess at the end of the day, I felt that kind of esprit de corps seems to have disappeared in Washington. And that's one of the things I'd like to bring back to that city.
I see a transformation in America from a nation that you're dependent on yourself to take care of yourself to one where people are dependent on government. And that transformation is something I'd very much like to prevent. So having people who are willing to fight that transformation is really essential right now in Washington.
The atmosphere in Washington is getting more and more partisan, and Congress's approval rating is at an all-time low. The candidates shared their top issues they want to tackle.
What I see in Washington right now, which has been really difficult to deal with, particularly with Obamacare, is just increasing the size of government more and more and more and more and more. And as we see in Washington, the same like Springfield, we just don't have the resources to do that. And we've got to stop the, train that's run away already to say, let's just keep making government bigger, bigger, and bigger.
We could take the tax rate right now, which is 39.6%, the highest bracket for the corporate level, as well as the S corporations and individuals, down to around the mid-20s. Put all the loopholes on the table. So if somebody says, hey, what about General Electric? They paid 0 taxes. I understand, that's just as bad. So we need to put the loopholes on the table. We need to cut the tax rate up to 50% from essentially 40 to 20 or 25, and we would see a lot of the pent-up cash that is sitting on the sidelines right now being invested overseas to begin to be invested here in the U.S.
Unemployment is probably number one. We have 12% unemployment in this 11th district. That's completely unacceptable. Social Security's a train wreck, and the absolute not milk of human kindness is to let that go bankrupt, and no one's addressing that. We're borrowing 35 cents in the dollar on every dollar we spend in Washington. That's crazy. It's unsustainable. And finally, Obamacare, which I realize makes 4, but Obamacare has got to be cleaned up radically.
I am the only candidate in the race that wants to repeal Obamacare. I'm the only Tea Party candidate in the race. And I don't know exactly who's saying what, but I did sit in a editorial board and asked the question, and everybody was completely silent when I said that I supported what Ted Cruz is doing and the Tea Party movement. So my biggest issues are personal freedom and economic freedom. I think they tie in together, and Obamacare is really the biggest enemy of both kinds of freedom right now.
If you want to cast your vote before March 18th, early voting is now open. Residents can stop by the Municipal Center to cast their ballot.